Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me with this patron-only video series. Today I'm going to be talking about Saint Satine, and before I jump in, I just want to say again, thank you so much for donating and for continuing to support my channel. Right now, I'm currently working at a full-time job, so that's why I'm not able to make video essays like fully edited ones, but this will be unscripted and hopefully really fun. So without further ado, let's go. Saint Satine. Who is Saint Satine? They are a new girl group managed by Hybe and Geffen. They were formerly known as Prelude, and they were just 3 members who were announced, who were ex-members of Dream Academy. There was Emily from the US, Lexi from Sweden, and Samara from Brazil. Samara is 21, Emily is 20, Lexi is 22. From what I remember, they didn't debut any music because they were still trying to find like this missing piece. Recently, their Japanese reality show came out where they were going to have a Japanese member. The reality show was called World Scout: The Final Piece. Who won? Who was this missing piece? It was Sakura, who is only 15 or 16 years old, much younger than the other members who are still very, very young. They're only in their early 20s, and Sakura's just like a freshman or a sophomore in high school. That was a huge controversy. Basically, a lot of people thought that Ayana should have won, who was 20, and she was the runner-up, and they even did like a song with her, and they have these side-by-side comparisons of them singing with the group Prelude, and Ayana tends to just fit better. She's more developed as an artist, whereas Sakura is clearly not ready to debut. Her vocal skills, were compared to Ayana, and they're just not there yet. A lot of people said maybe she's like a child of one of the producers. My own personal opinion. I agree that Sakura is way too young to debut. There's been this ever prevailing comment that I've been seeing in the comment section that reads, "Remember when members were ready to debut?" Essentially saying that these groups are formed so fast that the members aren't actually ready to debut, and it really shows. But they really threw Sakura to the wolves. Some say that she's a nepo baby. Like I said, we don't know, but I personally feel really bad for her. She is not trained well enough to debut, and to debut her in such a way that she is again thrown to the wolves. People are mocking her, people are saying she doesn't deserve it. It just really sucks. She's only 15 years old, 16 years old. And consequently, I feel bad for all the other girls in this group who are all under 25 years old. The oldest is only 22. And sometimes I wonder if this is all part of Hybe Geffen's rage bait marketing that has been speculated of just going for the most clickbaity-ish choices just to generate views and generate buzz, in the same vein of no press is bad press. And also, I think it's a really weird name, just generally. Saint Satine. It reminds me of saltine crackers. The initials are SS, so I found that to be a little weird. But maybe that I'm looking too into it. Talking about the other members and the group as a whole, Saint Satine, it just seems weird that they would debut this other girl group who have the same target demographic as Cat's Eye, the same age range, the same people who watch them on Dream Academy. It's the same people, so why would they do this? Some may think that it's to right past wrongs. For example, many thought these girls would go on to debut or had their debut stolen, specifically Emily, who made it to the final round of Dream Academy. There was speculation that it should have been her and not Manon or not any other member. And personally, I think it's setting up Saint Satine to fail. They're trying to be marketed as this new group and everything. For me, it feels like they're being debuted as the lesser members of Cat's Eye who didn't win Dream Academy. And to me, it makes the reality show they went through, Dream Academy, even more pointless, even though we all knew it was pointless because the runners-up got handpicked for Prelude. Also weird to me that Lexi even backed out of the entire show because she said it was bogus, and good for her, but then she's going to debut anyway. And some people are saying where's some of the other members that could have debuted, that stuck with it to the end. Of course, we can all change our minds. I don't think that she should be ridiculed for that, but she did basically say that she didn't want to be a part of that kind of process, but now she's totally fine with debuting. I don't know. And I personally think Lexi was a favorite of all the executives. They really love her Asian, really pale looking beauty thing that she has going on. And not that she is Asian, but she kind of really fits this I could go on a whole other rant about this, but this aesthetic of women going to South Korea and Japan and like trying to fit into that beauty standard, but in the end it makes them look Asian. And then they're kind of like yellow fishing, because sometimes I go on these people's profiles and I think that they are South Korean, or Asian, I should say, East Asian, but they're just white women cosplaying as like biracial. I don't know, it's very weird. But I knew that Hype was not going to pass up on her aesthetic, because she really fits what they want. But you know, I am happy for them if this is what they want. I'm really happy for Samara. You know, she's Brazilian, and I really loved her in Dirty Water. She made it to the final round. What's interesting to me is that the members that they chose, specifically Emily and Samara, were in the cute group when they sang Wannabe. When they started to split up the girls into like 3 groups, they had like the edgier group that sang Confident, that had Megan in it and Yoonchae, and then they had the sexy group with Manon and Daniela and Sophia, and then they had this kind of cuter group that were like they were performing in like a high school football field. I even remember in the Dream Academy, you know, the documentary, not the Dream Academy reality show, where some of the executives were saying, you know, we're going to put like the shorter girls that aren't necessarily younger, but the shorter and younger looking girls in this group to be like a cute branding, and then they're going to have the edgier branding of the taller girls who looked older, but not necessarily were older in age. That mission of the TV show really gave me a hint as to where they were going with this. They wanted the sexy group. They didn't want the cute group, but now it feels like they want the cute group, but you know, of like shorter girls. But also the way that they're presenting themselves or are dressed on stage with the help of Hype Geffen, it looks like they're just trying to be similar to Cat's Eye and not really like have a cute look. And of course we have the other controversies. For example, the sexualization of Hype versus Geffen, US versus South Korea, South Korean culture as more conservative. There's this really popular comment going around, has like over 2.8 thousand likes, which basically says Hype controls their Korean outfits when it comes to Cat's Eye, and I'm guessing now Saint Satine, whereas Geffen controls their US outfits. It's interesting that the, you know, American Hollywood studio dresses them, you know, in a very revealing manner, whereas the South Korean label doesn't. But it could also be because, you know, South Korean culture as a whole is more conservative too, and like they can get away with more in the US. I don't think it has to do with them respecting them more. That's just my insight. I think they're just playing to the culture. But either way, it's kind of sad that they're not in control of their own image. And I don't think that Saint Satine will have much control over their image either. I mean, they weren't even allowed to pick who the 4th member was. It was just up to the judges. And I guess people voted at home. And, you know, of course, we all wonder, will the same thing happen to Saint Satine? Will they be hypersexualized, you know, and consumable for US audiences and international audiences with the internet and everything? I don't even know. I'm just wary of the whole thing. I'm really not a fan of this group, especially knowing that there's a girl that's so young. I mean, Yoonchae just turned 18, so I guess I'm a little bit of a hypocrite there. But either way, like, these girls are all very young, even the girls that are in their early 20s. I mean, when they're done with this, they're only going to be 30 years old, which is very young. I mean, I just turned 31, and now, like, with hindsight of like this whole decade of my 20s done, being in a girl group like this under like mass scrutiny would probably kill me. And it makes a lot of sense why Manon needed this hiatus and needed to get away from this like weird hustle culture and like celebrities, and it's just too much, and it's a lot, especially for such young women. So that's where it is now. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. And I want to say thank you again so much for donating and supporting my work and staying around. And I really hope we can do more of these monthly videos where I just kind of rant about something that you guys vote for. So thank you so much for continuing with me on this journey, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.